Hi everyone. I'm just gonna sit here and say hi for a minute while we wait for a few people to get on, and I can invite Brenda on. Hello, hello, hello. So nice to see everybody. Oh, there's Brenda. I'm gonna invite Brenda if I can here. Hi everybody. Hi Brenda.
Hi. I hope you can hear me well.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you pretty well. Yes, that's okay.
Thank you for joining me with this. It's the first, right? We're going to be interrupting each other and trying to explain what we're doing different things. And I guess I didn't think about the fact that I guess people need to pick one of us to follow. They can't follow both of us. So I'll just say what I'm doing in case there's people who haven't seen the post. I am going to do a ladybug with the new freebie gouache set that I gave away in my newsletter recently. And Brenda, what are you going to do?
Well, I'm going to take it not as realistically as you can do. I'm going to draw in a very stylized way, and I just practiced this once. This is the only drawing I did this week because I'm very busy, so I hope I can get it in the right way. So we'll see how that goes. And everything is live, so we'll see. I will be using mostly Lisa Glantz watercolor aquarelle sets for the brushes, and sometimes little different brushes, but mostly the aquarelle.
Okay. So how about we do this? How about we each take a minute to tell people how we're setting up our canvas, and then from there, and we are starting with a sketch. Each of us is starting with a sketch, so that will cut down on time. But it might make it harder for people to follow along if they didn't prepare. If you are a newsletter subscriber of mine, I sent out the reference photo, so hopefully, you know, that was helpful. But it's a pretty simple sketch. I'll try to talk through it a tiny bit as well. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to see the comments. I have Instagram on another iPad, and it's just spinning. It's not. Oh, I spoke too soon. It's loading, so I should be able to see the comments. All right, should we switch our cameras?
We switch our cameras.
All right, bye.
So people can see what we're going to do. Bye-bye for now.
Oh, you can see my mess. I've been doing real gouache.
That's awesome. So I hope it's visible for everybody now. I have a 10-second delay on my iPad, so we'll be watching.
And also, everybody can ask questions in the regular comments. Hi, Gabby. Yeah, just ask questions in the regular comments, and
I hope we'll see them.
Turn a light on, see if that's any better. And I'm trying to find a better spot for my iPad, the other iPad, so I can see. And we'll be all right. Now that you can't see me, I'm putting my ponytail holder in. My hair is just all over. So we'll be checking the comments every couple minutes. And so if you join late, I mean, I guess those people aren't going to hear me say what to do if you're a late joiner. But yeah.
You will be having the recording, right?
I have the recording. I will.
Yeah.
And yeah. I'm going to try to, I think if I tag you on it, maybe you can share it to your side too. We'll have to figure that out.
Well,
hopefully.
That's okay. Yeah.
Okay. So I'll just go ahead and start. I'm going to turn this off. I grouped this. And I'm going to go ahead and go to like a gray for my background, just so you can see what texture we're going to do. And I'm going to turn off my textures too, so we can just start fresh. So let's see. I'll need my sketch layer, so I'll keep that. And I'll just turn all that off. So I'm just going to add some texture layers first. So I have a light gray, doesn't matter what color you have as your background right now. And with the brush set, you're going to see this extra brush. I'll just move this down. Just forget that that's there. With this pastel board brush, I'm going to grab a gray that is straight
Jen,
across.
I'm going to interrupt.
Yes.
Gabby is asking what size of canvas you'll be
using. I am using 10 inches by 8 inches at 300 DPI.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And I'm going gray, and I'm just going straight across and then a little bit darker for this particular brush because it's a pretty pale brush. And then you can just pick the size of the grain. You can see the grain changing and cover the whole thing. It's like the same color as the background. So you can't see it. Let me change the background. There we go. Hopefully you can see it. You can barely see this. Maybe I have the opacity down on that layer. Nope. All right, so you cover the whole thing in one stroke is the idea. And then duplicate that layer, and we're gonna turn 1 to multiply and 1 to color burn. And then we can swipe right on those and group them. And I'll probably turn the multiply layer opacity down a little bit, but not too much. Then the background, I just picked some, just some sort of green, some sort of mid-tone green here. So hopefully you can see that texture. Can you see it?
A little bit, not too much. Yeah.
It just adds a little bit of like a board, anyways, yeah, pastel board. So those are the texture layers at the top, and then we're going to be working down below. I'm going to turn my sketch layer on, and let's go ahead and make it, I'm going to make it black. If you want to go ahead and grab the reference photo and do a quick tracing of it, that might be a good idea. I just did it's just a really rough, let's see, let's go ahead and turn on reference, and oh, it's still here. So if you just kind of see that line down the back where the wings separate, if you watch that angle coming all the way down, it's a pretty steep slope right here. That would be a good starting point right there. And then just sort of make a smaller side on this side and a bigger side on this side. We didn't think about this part. Hopefully people have that reference photo. I'll leave this turned on right here for you to look at though. All right, Brenda, how do you set up your canvas? Do you use one of her canvases?
No, I made my own texturized canvas, and I have a Skillshare class on that. And I've been using it with hatches and scratches and something like that. I will turn it on here, and well, you can see some very scratchy lines when I zoom in. I hope you can see that, all those lines and textures in it and dots. That's what I like mostly, and I will be using that mostly. So it would help me out, and I don't have to do all those textures every time over and over again. So that's what I like. And people who know me know that I'm a messy painter, and I like all those stripes and marks, and I'm not working too secure. How do you say it? No, not secure. Not too clean, not too precise.
Loose.
So, loose. I work very, very loosely. But that's what I like. And also you're better at realistic painting. So that's why I keep to this and over exaggerate the colors and something like that. So I'm going to my other canvas now. So I also prepared the sketch, and I even went further in it. I just make those dots, and I want to try them to create like little hearts on it.
Cute.
So here you can, yeah, you can also see the texture in the paper here already. And so I prepared my sketch layer, and it's so fun to see you using your background color directly. And I added it mostly at the end of the drawing, so that's fun. And I know that's wrongly, because maybe then you change your colors, but I already knew I did want to use something blue, so that's the contrasting color to orange. So
Oh yeah.
I knew that already, that I wanted to do that, because when you don't do that, you can change your colors. So that's so fun that we both are very different in how we approach our work. That's so fun to see.
It is.
Yeah.
And I don't know how much of this green will show through, because I do just kind of blob on some and
Yeah.
smudge. You'll be surprised at how much tapping and dabbing that this
Oh.
style uses.
That's great.
In the live that I just did in my community, we were talking about that. So let's go ahead. Should we just, I don't know how to do this because we're doing two different things.
Well, I think I'm just going to tap and dab some watercolor into my painting.
Okay.
No, I first do the outlines, because when you see my example here, you see I use very thick and very thin lines, and I will start with that. And mostly I do that on two different layers. One layer is the thick and thin lines for the main sketch, and then I do much thinner sketch lines, those messy ones. I do that on another layer, so I can always alternate them when I like that. So I think I'm going to roughly do my outline first, and you can go ahead and go talk to the audience what you'll be doing. And for the people who are watching my side, you can remember that mostly my highlights will be coming from this side, and my dark lights will be coming from this angle. So my lines at the bottom will be thicker than the lines I have in the upper right corner. So that's what I'll be doing, and I'll be using my dry ink brush for that. So that's what I'm going to do for the next 5 minutes. So the next 5 minutes will be yours, I think. Is that okay?
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
We can change that plan if we need to.
Yeah, always.
I was going to start with the ladybug, but I'm going to just blob on some color in the background. I see very muted greens over here, and then I'm leaving the leaves a more yellowy green, just so they stand out a little bit more. So I'm going to do some darker, kind of dusty greens over here, and even darker over here, and then bright over here. And I've been using this thick gouache brush for almost everything. So go ahead and grab that. And let's go ahead and pick, come over right in the center of the greens here. And let's start with that. We'll go dark. Let's test that out. That looks good. So I'm kind of pretty dark over here. And this method, like I said, is a lot of blobbing and dabbing and smudging. And what brushes are you using? Yeah. Jen, I'm using our gouache brushes. And Brenda's using a dry ink brush right now, and then she's going to be using some of Lisa Glance's. But I'm using the thick gouache. I'll probably mostly use the thick gouache. And I'm just going kind of around the ladybug right now. And I'm going to go a little darker. Just get a variety of colors. It doesn't have to be green. You don't have to follow the picture.
You're a realistic one.
Well, it's surprisingly not, though. It's really weird. It's really weird. It just, it's one of those things, though, where I think it's not, and then other people say it is. But I'm like, but wait, it's painty. And then tap and hold the smudge brush to get that same brush. And I'm going to go big on that. And I keep that opacity for smudging around 80%. My fingers are a little bit sticky, so I can't really slide that right now.
Yeah, is it very hot at your side too?
It's really warm and muggy. It's really
Yeah.
muggy. It's not cooling off at nights. It was, but then it stopped. So my smudging is really short little strokes where I'm just having fun, not making it too streaky. Like I'm not dragging a whole bunch across the screen or anything like that. And we might just be really quick with this background and then come back to it if we have time. The background's not super important. Hopefully people can see that reference photo. And yes, there will be a recording. Sorry, I did see that question. There will be a recording on my account, and hopefully Brenda can share it. We don't know this part yet. We stopped doing too many things on Instagram like this. I didn't want to keep supporting Instagram, and also there's a lot of people that aren't on Instagram, so YouTube ends up being a better place because everybody can access that. And these strokes can go any which way. When you're painting, you would actually, with real gouache, you would be going along the edges of what you're making there, but I'm not doing that. So that was supposed to be the bottom layer. And then the next layer is where I'm going to start. Well, I would probably put the leaves on that layer, but I'm going to move up to the ladybug. So I'm going to go 2 layers up. And what I'm looking at with the ladybug colors is just like we did in the background, we're going to use multiple colors and smudge them a little bit together. So I'm looking at these very orangey reds and these very dark browny reds. And I'm actually not really looking at the highlights right now, but I can go ahead and think about the black spots. And I'm gonna start with just all orangey red everywhere. So I'm coming over to my orangey reds here. I'm still on the same brush. Oop, I'm gonna go a little bit more red there and just test that out. Ooh, that's very, very bright. So we'll go in a little bit so it's less saturated. A little bit more red. That's almost pink. Okay. And this part, I'm going to be a little bit more careful. I'm going to decrease my size here. We have a lot of people on.
Yeah, I see 48
people.
now. Yeah, 51,
yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I'm going to barging just to tell you, I'm going to layer underneath my thick painting right now. And that's where I'm going to create a new layer, and I'm going to go over to my watercolor brushes by Lisa Glantz, and I will taking the all-round brush, the all-rounder, and it has lovely dark edges, and that's what I like. I alternated, I made a little bit of adjustments to it because the original brush will run out of ink. It will run out of color, and I didn't like that because sometimes when I do bigger colors, bigger fields of colors, I want all the color to be there. So that's what I did with it. So that's why you see the little 2 behind it. So I'm just going to a layer underneath my sketch or my drawing layer, and that is where I'm going to fill in my color because I want to be the black ink layer on top. So that's what I'm going to do. Over to you again, Jen.
So that's the flow, I think, right? The flow so it doesn't stop. Yeah. All right, so I was a little precise with getting color just in the area of the shell, but you can see I didn't fill it in full opacity because we're going to be smudging, dabbing, and tapping and dabbing. So now I'm going to add just some blobs of some of these other colors. So some of the darker, I see darker all through here, over here, up in here, maybe even darker than this. Some over here. This whole section over here might be a little darker than the rest. Even darker. People are going to join and go, what is that? And I'm going to go to some brighter colors up in here. Ooh, maybe not quite that peachy. Maybe some bright orange. It'll get all smudged in. Maybe some bright orange over here. Hopefully it's not too much brighter on the screen.
Oh, it's looking lovely to me.
And I think I'll smudge before I add any of the black. So Brenda, you're getting a question about the change you made to the brush so that flow, what is that change? So
I did it a long time ago. What did I change? I think it was the, wow, what was it? Geez, how long do I have those brushes? I think I have it for over a year now. I bought it as soon as it came out. Was it the rendering? No. Jen, you're the perfect one about brushes.
It could be the rendering where the flow is. And it could also be some of the Apple Pencil settings.
No. It was the, is there a fall off? Was it the fall off? Could that be it?
It could be.
No.
We'll figure it out later. Maybe we'll post it as a comment.
Yeah, I'm sorry. My mind is also a bit empty now. I've had a lot of work lately. So I don't know at the moment. I'm sorry for that. I will come back to it.
And I'm just going to smudge some of these colors together, just like we did in the background. But this time, you do have to be a little careful with the edges and make them look the way you want them to look. So if you're going to smudge past an edge, you know, that's okay, you know, but it's going to show, you know, unless you erase. But don't be super messy at the edges, I guess, is the best way to say it. Yeah, and I'm just going to I'm kind of looking up here and my stomach is growling.
Also, mine is also growling. Well, the fun thing about what you see at my place right now is that I'm covering everything. Also, where I'm going to put lighter colors underneath. And that's the fun part about digital watercoloring. And you can't do that with real watercolors, of course. But then you can use always a gouache in it. So that's also possible.
Oh, yeah.
And you can see I'm really messy at this painting because that is what I like.
And I like to use a slightly larger smudge brush so I don't have a lot of teeny tiny smudge strokes when I do this, but that's personal preference. So you can see how quickly that all smudged together. And now I think on this same layer, I'm going to add some of that black. And it's kind of a bluish black, and I never go all the way black. So I'm going over to blue, and I'm going to come down close to black here. And I'm a little annoyed. Procreate used to switch back to brush if you were on smudge. If you select a color, it used to automatically switch back to brush, but it doesn't do that anymore.
So, I didn't notice. Why didn't I notice that? Maybe I've been drawing too much this week.
I don't know how long it's been doing that. I just noticed it though. So I'm adding black, the black I know that is under that reflection. I probably don't need to, but I know I'm going to add the reflection on the top of it. But get a little black in there. And I think I'm going to stay on this same layer. I'm crazy with trying to do fewer layers these days. So I'm going to stay on this same layer and do the black up here, the head here. So I have this little triangle here. You can see a little triangle. And this might be a mistake staying on the same layer. So if you want to switch layers, do that. And I am just going to, I'm not very black either, but I'm going to fill in this whole head carefully. I'm just going to go with the whole head. See, Brenda, how messy mine is?
Yep, I see that. But you always end up well. It's so annoying to me.
It's annoying to me, honestly, because I try sometimes to not do it and then go, oh, it looks just like a picture. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't want it to look like the picture.
Right, then you could have taken a picture.
Okay, I'm gonna go pretty dark here and get some really dark blacks where I see dark black, where I see the very dark, the very dark areas. I'm
so
curious how many people are trying to follow along, and who are you following along with?
Yeah, I want to know that too.
And if this is just too much, doing two at once, this is too crazy.
You can also say that. So we also want to know that.
I'm going with some of this black up in here too. And then I'll smudge.
So I have my ladybug ready now at this moment for the base colors, and I will be going towards the leaves, and I will be doing that on a new layer underneath my ladybug layer. So that's what I'm going to do also with the watercolor.
All right. I'm just very carefully smudging these black areas, trying not to pull red into the black, but just getting a painterly look so that people don't say it's photorealistic. Smudge, smudge, tap and dab.
And here you can see I'm a very messy painter. I like it when you have some white spots in it, so don't go too much and don't overblend everything at this side.
Yes, I know, Brenda. People like your style.
Oh,
Brenda,
thank you
Brenda,
very much. I don't know if I
knew
style,
that.
But...
I knew that.
No, that's not the nice color. I'm going to my yellow again.
This looks really crazy. Lots of people are just watching, following both.
Wow, that's awesome. Do you do that with 2 iPads or just 1 canvas and 2 drawings?
2 hands, same time.
2 hands, yeah. 1 on the left and 1 on the right, yes.
And then take a drink.
Also, when I did the previous drawing you see here, I was doing the leaves in very different colors. It was more like a bluish green, and I changed the colors afterwards because I wanted more color. And that's also why I do everything on a different layer, so I can make adjustments to the colors in the end if I want to. So.
All right, I'm going to switch layers. I'm going to go up. I'm going to go up 1, and I'm going to get some of these highlights on, and probably the light spots on the black head here. So I'm going to go back over to reds and come up here to close to white. Looks pretty good. And I see a bright spot here and here. And I see some light here and it's diffused there and down here. And I see a little bit over here. So we can go ahead and smudge that. Now this isn't going to smudge in with the red, but it kind of looks like it is. So if it's needing to be a more faded spot, you can pull in on itself. So I don't know if you saw that. So if I undo, here it's brighter, but I can pull in. It's almost like it's like a black hole. You can just push it in on itself. And overlap some of that black spot. Sorry if my voice keeps sounding like it's from different areas. My phone is right in front of my face, so I'm leaning over to see what I'm doing. It's been a while since we've done live on Instagram. I don't remember.
Yeah.
I don't remember how we had our setup before.
I don't know. So here I am changing the colors to see what I like best. So we can do that with hue, saturation, and brightness. So we can play a little bit with that. So that's how I make my brighter colors. And I did some new layer on top of the green ones. And I put it on a clipping mask with the Bloom brush by Lisa Glance. And here's what you can see a little bit by what I did with it. I put on the wrong one. So now I put them off and now I put them on. So that's just a little bit more color and I hope it will be visible on camera as well. So nothing really textured other than what's in my canvas. And we're going to move to the textures later on. So first finish off this leaves.
And I just switched to a more bluish white for these black areas. So here's where I am. And to define the little black triangle we see in here, we can just expose some of that black underneath this highlight, and we can do that later. So for now, I'm just focusing on this big sort of almost a T of highlight here, up and over. It almost needs to be even more blue. It's kind of hard to tell what blue that is. Here, let me select it. Yeah, it's pretty dark.
I think it's funny when you do a color pick, the color is totally different than what you think the color would be. Do you have that also?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so weird.
And then I'm doing a little bit down here as well. And now I'm going to smudge. And I'm still on a layer above everything. All this light area is on a separate layer.
I think I'm ready for some textures now. So I'm going to my Ladybug. I'm going to create a new layer on top of that, putting that on clipping mask. So I only will be drawing on top of the Ladybug and nothing goes outside of the Ladybug. And for that one, I go to a different brush. And this is one by Nelly Suneli. And it's got lovely dots. That's what I like. So I go to white and just simple turn in some funny dots on that and lower the opacity till I think I like it and it's cute. So.
And I've just gone to the eraser on the same brush and I'm going really small. And I'm just gonna clear off a little bit of the highlight around the top of the head here and kind of the sides of that little triangle. And I'm still gonna smudge again, so don't be too precise. Just smudge a little bit, otherwise it kind of looks funny.
I've been doing the same with the leaves, putting it on a clipping mask on top of the leaves, but now I did an overlay blend mode, so, and I will be using black and it will darken the color underneath. So that's funny. So if I put it all the way in opacity up, you will see it is darkened, the color underneath it. But then I think it's too dark, so I will be lowering the opacity, and it will be to whatever I like it. Just a little bit of dots here everywhere I like it. I think I'm ready now to do some messy outlines, and that's when I go to Jennifer's, how do I call it?
I have something messy.
Yeah, now I've been drawing messy with it. It's just your how do you call it? Oh, I'm too tired to think. You did a Posca and a liner brush, that one?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
that's the liner brush I'll be using.
Micron?
Micron, yes, Jen's Micron light pen. That's the one I'll be using for that.
And I came over here to a golden color and way up here to a really light color to add some of these light areas here. And now I'm going to smudge those. I saw somebody lost the feed. Pam, can you see us again? Hopefully people can see us.
Okay. I haven't been checking the comments. Sorry.
That's okay. I'm gonna just to define the eyes a little bit, just put a little bit of the bluer highlight around these areas. Maybe even brighter. It's not really what I'm seeing. It's just what I want to see. There's also a line right here we could add if you want to go back and go to a darker kind of yellowy color. Could get a line down there and smudge that. Okay, I think that for the sake of this live, that part is going to be done. And we can move on to the antenna and the legs. And that part's pretty quick. I'm just going to choose a pretty dark black. I mean, I keep saying that. Almost black.
Yeah, it's supposed to be black, but all the way black isn't very convenient in coloring. Because when you use all the way black, you can darken it. So
yeah. And I'm going to a layer under the ladybug, and I'm just going to fill in the legs. That wasn't very dark. Next time I'll provide the sketch. Next time we can provide the sketch ahead of time.
Yeah. Maybe they can do a screenshot of it. Can you put it in view right now? Is it possible for you to do it easily or not?
I think most people are watching from their phones.
Okay.
They probably won't have a good opportunity to grab a screenshot.
Okay. No, that's okay.
But I'll post one to my stories or something.
Yeah. I'm going over to create some of these white highlights, and I will be doing that with a dry ink brush very easily, all the way on top of everything. So I go to a layer above everything, and then I go create some lines, which is mostly coming from the upper right corner. So there will be my highlights. Just some easily painterly strokes.
And I'm just getting some of the sort of orangey brownish reds here to put a little bit of color on these legs to have something to smudge. I'm not even going to worry about that back leg there. And then just a pretty small size. Tomorrow, I do a similar thing with Cecile Yadro on her YouTube channel at 10 o'clock in the morning Pacific. I'll put a thing in my stories about it. So she's going to be painting in real gouache. I'm going to be doing this, and we're going to do a citrus thing.
A citrus thing?
Yeah, it's like a full page of citrus slices.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. I'm smudging even though there's no added color back here, and I'm gonna just erase a little weird spot on the foot. Hopefully people saw that I was really quick with those feet. I'm gonna go back up to the highlight layer to add the antenna, and I'm gonna do the same thing with like a black and then that red. They're very, very red.
The thing I did with my background here, because watercolor is a see-through color, I did something very differently. And I hope I can remember what I did, because I didn't want to erase everything behind this. So what I did was I made a 3-finger swipe down. I copy all and I put that on top. So create a new layer and put paste. And there I have my drawing on, well, I move it to the top layer. And what I did then is select everything white. So I go to my selection tool, choose automatically, and selected everything outside of it. And also these bigger parts here. And you see it's not selecting the white within the thinner lines I did. And that's something I like what accidentally happened here. So that's why I do it this way again. So otherwise, if I didn't have it selected, I maybe have my color also in these parts, but I think it's lovely to do it on that way. That same way. I'm sorry for my English. That happens when I'm tired. So I've selected now everything automatically, what was white, so my background, and I do a 3-finger swipe down again, and I say cut. So now what I only have is my totally outlined ladybug and the leaves. And now I can draw a background underneath that, so it won't be visible behind my ladybug. So I hope that's helpful for someone. Then I go to my bright blue, and I think I just used one of Freya's gouache brushes, the thick one, with lovely texture. I think this was it, the thick 12. Let me try and see. Yes, because it has lovely strokes. And I just made this background very easily and very messy, like you know me.
I'm just going to say real quick what I'm going to do with leaves here. Sure. I'm going to pick one of the brighter greens so that it stands out from that background color. And I'm not doing all of the leaves, so I'm just doing these two and this stem here. And I'm just going to fill it in. So the brighter for me is more yellow green. And I'm going to fill in with a mid-tone green here, and then do some highlights and some shadows so I can smudge.
So here is the part I didn't like, you see, because here the lines were open, so it didn't select it very well. That's the part I'm going to erase. So I'm going to the same brush, maybe a little bit smaller, and erase that blue where I don't want it. But now at least I don't have to erase everything behind it. So just the parts I don't like. But I think it's lovely when it has some pieces here that stay white. So it's more fun like that. I think using of the white in your drawing is brightening and make more fun to your drawing. But maybe that could be, how do you call it? What I would like and you don't like. I don't know.
Your preference.
Yes,
yeah.
Oh, I'm so
Brenda's
sorry,
had
guys.
such a long week. She was so
Yeah.
nice to want to do this today.
Yeah, most of you don't know it, but I'm not in between jobs. I'm transferring from one job to another, and I am doing them both for 2 weeks now. So that's very, well, very tiring, but also very fun. I like it, my new job, so that's okay. I think for me, the only thing I have to do now is to create some fun and lovely dots, and I think I can do them yellow or orange. Maybe orange will be fun because that will be complementary to the blue. So I think I will do that on the background as well with orange, orange yellow, and one of my dot brushes. And these are free in my Skillshare classes. So if you have them, if you've done one of my Skillshare classes, you would probably have those brushes as well. Maybe some lighter.
And I'm just putting some darks and some lights. And I'm making sure it's dark under the ladybug and under the legs. I'll probably come back and add even more shadow. And I'm just gonna, I don't know what I'm doing here. I can't really see, it's pretty blurry over there. So I'm gonna do a pretty dark green on one side of this stem. And then I'm gonna start smudging. I think I'm gonna go even darker in here too.
It's so funny, Jen. We were talking just before this broadcast that I don't know which one would be faster, and Jen said, well, mine is very fast and you will see that. And I think you're very, very fast, Jen, but I think I'm
Are you done?
early. Yes, I'm sorry. But I'm so proud of you. You did all this and it's so awesomely looking, and it just, well, how long are we busy? Just like 45 minutes, I guess.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. Lovely.
Are you done?
I thought you, yeah, I think I'm done. Maybe I will be forgetting something, but I don't see it at this moment. But I think, yeah, I thought that would took me 2 hours if I would do it your style. But now I can see you can easily do that. Well, not easily, but it's less time than I would have expected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's because of the tapping and dabbing.
Yeah. Oh, Ellie is also ready. Ellie, which one did you do? I'm very curious.
And these leaves are so fuzzy that I'm not even worrying about what the edges look like. They're so blurry. I'm going to turn my sketch off. I would definitely spend more time on these leaves. Maybe get a dark, kind of a dark area down the center. So it looks like there's some sort of vein.
Gelatry, I did use for the thick and thinner parts, the outline I did first. I used the dry ink brush, and for the smaller line work, I did use Jennifer's micron-like pen. Was it micron-like pen?
And Micron's available in my newsletter downloads. So yeah. If
that
there's
pen's
any,
what I'll be using for the smaller lines, the outer lines, the messy ones.
Allie's ready to share hers to Instagram.
Oh, wow. I will be looking at later. I just want to finish watching Jennifer's. It's awesome. Awesome.
I'm just putting a little edge here.
Yeah. If you created something after this or during our session today, we would love to see that. So please tag Jennifer and me as well and on your Instagram, and we can show that in our stories. It's lovely.
And I like to put a bit of a tape look around the edge sometimes too. And let me show you what it looks like with the texture layers turned off. You can see it probably on the screen. You can just see it brighten a little bit with no texture, and then it looks darker. But in person, you can see the texture like this, just very faint texture of like a piece of paper that has, you know, some sort of grid on it. Excuse me. I'm going to call it done. I would, of course, spend more time on it, but
I don't mind watching you, so go on, continue.
well, it's a lot of little finesse things, right? A lot of things like I would probably start changing the background a little bit more so it looks different than the leaves. And you could really do any color you want with the background too. But I think the main idea of how it's done is there for people.
Yes, awesome. Yeah.
So the brushes really have to be smudged. So that's the trick. the gouache brushes from my freebies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lovely.
And I'll show people some of the other stuff that I've made with them. This was a lesson I did in my community. We did that live. I think it was only an hour. This is what I'm working on for tomorrow.
That's awesome. I love the colors and I love the soft touch of it. You can almost feel them. I want to feel them. I want to touch them. Yeah.
And then this, I've been doing nothing but these brushes for like a week or so. Yay.
It's awesome.
I'm just looking at the comments.
Mm-hmm. Arina was too busy to looking at both of us. And sure you can do them, Arina. I know that you're a fantastic painter. So, yeah.
Sarah, I think is one of the people who saw our Oops practice live. Sarah, our practice live was supposed to be on private accounts, and then all these people joined, and my hair was wet. I had just gotten out of the shower.
Yeah, it's your morning and my evening, so that's very awesome here. And I was very tired when we started it, but I'm thinking, wow, I'm quite awake right now. I'm feeling so excited for doing this, and it was so much fun.
Well, thank you for joining and giving it a try. Like, we didn't know how this was going to go and how.
Yeah.
I don't know why when I initially thought of it, I was like, and people can follow along, thinking that they were going to follow both. And later I'm like, wait a minute. That can't
How
happen.
could they do that? Well, it's recorded, so they can do one live and one afterwards. So.
So this will be on my Instagram, and I'll put it in one of the highlights as well, and I'll try to make it somehow available for Brenda to share. I think you can share it, Brenda, because when I went on live on Instagram, on Spoonflower's Instagram, I've been able to share that to my stuff. So
okay. Well, I hope I can do it, but I don't know how. I'm a very Instagram nerd. Well, how you call it? Nerd. Just no. A nerd is someone who gets it, right? I don't get it. I never get it. Well, that's
all right.
Okay.
Well, it's late for you, Brenda. I'll let you go. I know you are super busy. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. Everybody, thank you for watching. And I hope you liked it. And I hope you also learned something from it. And if you haven't done it yet, subscribe to Jennifer's email because you will get lots of freebies and lots to know about what she's sharing all the time. She's so very generous at sharing. So it's very worth it.
Yeah, I give away a lot of brushes.
Yeah, also that. Yeah, but also learning stuff. So it's fantastic. So you won't regret that. So thank you for joining. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.